Live.
Live.
Are you just switching, or are you going back and forth with these two? Let's give people a minute to get in here.
Let's do it. Yeah, let's give it.
I feel like we start off a little too hot out of the gate with with Drinkin Bros when we go live sometimes.
Oh, I thought you said we start out.
No, not us. No,
we kind of look at each other and like, well, here we are again.
Yeah, I don't have the energy to do that.
Do you feel like we're unstoppable?
Yeah.
I feel like nobody can stop us.
Wait, why are the tags in this still World Pong League and Post Malone? Good. All right. Because we're not yelling about that today.
Yelling. I like to yell.
Yeah, I don't. I hate yelling. I don't like loud noises in general.
You really?
No. I think it's just conditioning, right? I'm used to a loud noise signaling danger, so I just get angry when I hear loud noises. Unless it's a loud noise in context, like death metal or a gun firing and I'm shooting it.
Yeah.
But if it's an out of context, sudden loud noise, not a big fan of that.
Yeah. Makes sense.
Yeah, so just so you guys know, this is going to be just stay on the wide. This is going to be what do you call it? Not really a call-in show, but we're going to have some fan interaction today. We got a couple of subjects we want to touch on, including troop reductions and the Constitution and student loan debt and shit like that. But first, let's just talk about how things are going lately. How are things going with you?
Man, things are good. Things are good.
That's not true. Anytime, you may as well have said I'm living the dream.
Yeah.
Just then, because that was clearly not true what you just said.
No, it's been good, man. It's been busy. It's been crazy busy the last couple of weeks.
Yeah, I bet.
I am glad that this election shit is pretty much starting to die down.
The biggest fly in the history of flies is right here. Get the fuck out of here. Stop trying to drink. Well, he's probably going to die now.
Hold on. Is that the Pence fly?
I don't know. Maybe.
What do you think?
I think the common housefly lifespan is only 30 days. So I'm pretty sure the VP debate was longer than 30 days ago.
Yeah.
Look at me bringing science in to ruin your joke.
How do you know that?
How do I know anything? I don't know. I do drugs and then remember things.
Jacob wants to know how the puzzles are. Puzzles are good.
The real puzzle you're trying to put together is your own sexuality, really, right?
Mm-hmm. How did you know?
Again, know things.
How, you know what? The better question is, Dan, is how are things with you?
Terrible. Worst day of my life.
Is that every day?
No. Today's all right, I guess, but yesterday was pretty bad.
What happened? What's going on?
We're not going to get into that.
Yeah,
but
well, listen.
It is what it is.
Well, listen.
That's why I'm drinking at 10 a.m.
Well,
that's not true. I don't want to blame.
Yeah,
I don't want to blame my issues on why I'm drinking at 10 a.m. I'm drinking at 10 a.m. because I enjoy drinking, right? That's why.
But here's what I'll tell you is I always like to bring it back positive. Is the good thing is about the worst day of your life is that usually it can only get better from there.
Yeah, that's bullshit though. That's not how life works.
Yeah.
Life is basically like. This will hit home for military people or maybe even a lot of runners. When you're running up a hill and you get to the top and then you look in the distance to see an even bigger hill, you're like, motherfucker.
Man, I always tell this story. Like I'll never forget.
Time to get a car.
We were I was in Afghanistan and I was trying to get the high ground before the sun came up. And because we
trying to get the high ground before the sun came up, yeah.
Because we knew it was gonna be on, right?
Yeah.
And so we started going up this hill. And I thought it was going to be one of the highest points. I was like, man, if I get to that hill, like I've got the ground, right? And as soon as I started to crevice that hill, the sun started coming up, right? And behind it,
that's even worse actually.
Was
at 5 a.m. because you silhouette so hard.
Yeah.
At dusk, like that.
Yeah. But there was like five more mountains bigger than it behind it, and I was like, this is the epitome of life.
Yeah, you can't get up all those hills.
No.
Not in Afghanistan. Those people, I don't think the average American, even after watching some of the movies that have tried to capture it, like I mean, as bad as it is, 12 Strong did a pretty good job of laying out the territory and shit. Obviously, Lone Survivor goes into a lot of what it's like there, and those goat paths and the mountains and shit. It is treacherous, to say the least.
I was with Marcus the other day, and we were looking down this hill, and he was looking over at it, and I said, does that bring back memories? And he was like, hell yeah, it does. I've rolled down one of those before.
Yeah, not everything in that movie was accurate. My understanding is falling down the side of a goddamn mountain is one of the more accurate things.
Yeah, he said that was. He describes it as like trying to play football on the side of a mountain. Yeah.
That actually sounds like it would be a good sport.
Yeah. Yeah. So Dan.
Yeah.
How the hell did we get here?
I don't know. I mean, everybody knows what's going on now. No one trusts anyone. People don't trust each other. They don't trust the opposite political party. Some of them don't trust any political party. No one trusts the government, the media, polls, doctors. The public's trust in pretty much every institution has been completely eroded, I think.
Yeah.
And I don't know why it is. I mean, you see it in so many different areas. When politically correct stuff is
but isn't politically correct and politically correct is a fluff of the truth.
Correct. Yeah.
That's all it is.
If you can't be honest about things, then it's like you go to the doctor and something's wrong and they're trying to treat you, but you won't be honest about what you've been doing or other drugs you may have taken or anything else like that. That doctor can't treat you properly, and as such, we're not capable of treating the human condition in America.
I see this all the time, right? You'll walk up on a guy who's got shallow breathing, who is like his eyes are pinpoint,
like he's clearly on fentanyl,
clearly on some type of opioid, right? And I'm like, hey man, like around looking for. He said he had seizures. So like he says he had a condition where he has seizures. So we're running and trying to find his seizure medicine in his car, and we get in the back of the ambulance, and I finally
while he's dying.
Yeah, while he's dying.
Idiots.
And we finally get to him and go, hey, like, you don't have seizures, do you? And he goes, no. He goes, I just took a bunch of drugs. Well, and it was like, well, dude, come on, like, you know what I mean?
You do look like a cop, though. Actually, no, you don't look like a cop. You look like a fucking dirtbag.
Yeah, I'm a dirtbag.
There's no way you could ever be a cop. EMT, yeah. Firefighter, yeah. Cop, no way.
No way?
No.
Why?
You're too understanding.
Yeah. You
would let everybody get away with shit. Although if you were a patrol officer in a neighborhood, particularly in a low-income neighborhood, I think that would work out really well. Because you're a community policing kind of guy. I mean, you need both types. You need ESU, whatever you want to call it. SWAT.
My problem is I couldn't uphold stupid laws.
There's no way I would ever enforce drug laws unless it was something violent. If I saw dudes ripping lines of cocaine off the hood of their car in front of City Hall, I'd be like, sweet, bro.
Dude, and there's
you want to carve one of those out for me, please?
Yeah.
Because honestly, cocaine helps you do your job. It's true. Why do you think the people with the most high-stress jobs in the world, finance, politics, and professional sports, and all these other things, they are constantly on drugs? Actors, like stuff that is like very mentally stressful. All of those people are doing drugs. I feel like soldiering and policing is a pretty high-stress thing.
To numb.
It's not just to numb things. You know this drill.
I think
you've read Stealing Fire. Have you ever read that book?
Dude, I don't read.
Stealing Fire is by, I think it's the same authors as not Finding Superman. I can't remember what it is, but it's about unlocking human potential using they call it ecstasy. It's an old Greek word, but basically it's like a feeling of belonging and contentment. It's really hard to explain, but you know it when you feel it. It's kind of what you feel when you're on MDMA, to be honest. But they go into stories in Stealing Fire about special operations using psilocybin and MDMA and LSD and all kinds of other shit to enhance the way you think.
Yeah.
And enhance the human body. Same thing with, there's a good story in there about how the founders of Google took their eventual CEO to Burning Man for his interview. Like his interview was to hang out with him at Burning Man and do drugs the whole time because they wanted to see who he was as a real person.
I do believe that. I do believe a drunk person tells no lies.
In vino veritas, it means in wine there is truth.
See, I do believe like if you want to see how somebody truly is,
break down the barriers they've created, right?
Yep.
And I think that's an important part of this process. People make fun of Joe a lot for the DMT stuff, and it's a funny meme, but he's not wrong. There's a reason why Heroic Hearts Project and all these other organizations exist now that are taking military veterans to Peru and Costa Rica.
I did 5-MeO last Sunday.
Yeah, 5-MeO is DMT.
Yeah.
I've got a DMT cartridge at my house right now. I've got LSD, psilocybin, whatever the fuck. And yeah, I mean, you can use it recreationally and it's fun and stuff, but there's a real benefit to this stuff if you do it correctly.
Yeah, I mean, I don't.
That's what I'm saying. I'm not trying to tell all the cops out there to start doing cocaine.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. Obviously, that's not a good idea. However,
I was trying to figure out where you were going.
The line in the
man.
sand we draw between what is and isn't acceptable is so.
But who's fucking
ridiculous.
lying? Like, and that's the thing, right? Like, that's the thing is the lines that are drawn, and my problem is, and this goes back to why we can't trust people up that are in our government, and how do we know who to trust? Because the lines that are being drawn, we all know can't be held. So like the people who are drawing them, you have to worry about their intentions of why they're drawing them. Right. Are they drawing them to try to control us?
To selectively enforce. It's the same thing.
Exactly.
Always. It's God damn it. Russia, it's the Russian bill 440 or something like that. I don't remember exactly what it is. I'm sure somebody over there with one of those computers that's listening to us talk right now can probably look it up and tell me what it is and put it on that screen maybe. Anybody? Can you guys at least look over here and acknowledge that I exist?
Nobody cares.
God damn it.
Nobody cares, Dan.
Yeah, it is a strategy of a potentially oppressive government.
What is it? The Russian bill what?
I can't remember the name of it. Hold on.
Russian bill.
Yeah.
What's it about?
240 or some shit.
Russian bill 240?
It's about, essentially it's a program that makes everything illegal and then you decide how to enforce it, right? So essentially, if you make everything illegal, you can always selectively apply the law and anybody is subject to it because everybody's always violating it. So, yeah, that's not a good strategy. When people make broad laws with very broad definitions of what is and isn't acceptable, I feel like there should be a litmus test for any new law. One, is this law preventing one person from harming another person? And if it's not, then it shouldn't be a law in the fucking first place, right? If a law that exists is not protecting one person from another person, and when I say person and person, I mean institutions versus a single person or a group of people or organizations or groups of people, whatever it is. If the actions of this person are not harming this other person in some way, directly or indirectly, then it cannot be illegal. Me smoking weed, for example, there's no reason that should be illegal. There's no reason that me taking psilocybin should be illegal or any of this stuff.
So now, okay, so you go to, do you think heroin should be illegal?
No, I don't personally know. But that's more of a coarse understanding of how human life works.
Do you think? Yeah,
I mean, look, it doesn't matter if heroin's illegal. Since when does writing words on a piece of paper stop people from doing shit they want to do? In what world has that ever worked? Because it's never worked in human history. We've got 6,000 years of recorded human history, and it's never worked.
But it's the same thing back on murder. Then if you just because you write on paper murder being illegal, but
murder hurts other people, so you need recourse for that. That's about justice. It's not about prevention. We have to delineate between recourse and prevention in our criminal justice system. It's the same thing with health, right? Mm-hmm. An ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. That's a real thing.
But so at what point do we become you look at Afghanistan and Iraq. You could literally get any drug you wanted to there. It was all over the place. At what point do we become a lawless society?
Well, look, Afghanistan is a lawless society because they're a lawless society. That's why heroin is there. I don't think heroin led to that. But even if it did, let's say heroin became legal in the United States and producing heroin became legal in the United States, the crime part of it would be those producers or our government or whomever it happens to be sending that to other places that find it legal, right?
Do you not feel that the government also has, you don't feel like they have like some obligation to
babysit us? No.
Not babysit us, but to also put laws in place to protect us?
Protect us from whom?
Well, heroin, there's no, I guess I look at it and I say, if there's no positive effect for you, you are also harming yourself.
Right. So
heroin has no beneficial use to it.
No, not really. Not heroin in its tar or red rock form, where people use it recreationally. No, there's no
weed isn't going to kill you.
No.
Psilocybin isn't going to kill you.
You're better off if you're trying to do pain management these days. You're better off trying to, and if you haven't talked to your doctor about this yet, I really encourage it. Discuss with them, as crazy as it sounds, getting off of any kind of opiates you're on and getting on ketamine.
Yeah. So then here's the other thing is like, if next door is a meth house, and this is what Angela brings up, like, do you want to be living next door to a fucking meth house?
No, but you wouldn't live next door to a meth house if it was legal, right? I don't think so. The reason that trap houses exist is because it is because of the law. It's the same way that I take a lot of heat, and I've been taking heat on this for years because I wrote a paper in 2012, I think it was, about border security. It's actually my master's thesis about how I think closed border policy in the United States, building walls and all this stuff, is fucking stupid. Because all you're going to do, one, you're going to spend a fuck ton of money on it, and it's something that you can't really secure. And two, all you do when you create, when there's an absolute demand for something, whether it is entry into the country or drugs or sex or whatever it is, if there's a demand that's clearly not going away, and you create boundaries around that to try to keep people from getting to it, they're just going to find new and creative ways to get through that, right? So here's the problem with border security specifically. In order to do that, you have to have a criminal smuggling class, and with crime comes violence eventually. It's the same thing with the quote-unquote drug war. When's the last time you saw a marijuana dispensary get robbed or shot up, or one marijuana dispensary get in a gunfight in the streets with another marijuana? It's not going to happen. Yeah, it doesn't make sense.
So I'm going to throw at you though. So I agree that just putting a border up doesn't fucking work.
No.
But I think that, but I also think that, walls have proven to be a barrier
in some
safety,
cases,
right?
For very specific reasons. Like the Great Wall of China didn't really work. Mongolia tore that thing down as quickly as they could build it, and the wall in Gaza though has been pretty effective. But the only reason it's been effective is because they patrol the area in between the city and Gaza, right?
So my proposal would be, as far as this, since we're on border security,
right,
is I don't think you can stop anybody from, I don't think you can hold anybody accountable from coming in until you've provided them a reasonable means of being able to come in, right? So my piece of it is like,
well, you have to prevent the average citizen that's otherwise a good person, other than that action, a pathway to do that thing.
This is exactly what I'm saying is, so like,
have speakeasies, have a fucking meth house that the government runs, and if you get Narcan if you fucking pass out, and then you go back and go to work the next day. Make it take this stuff. That's obviously hyperbole, but if you remove the impetus for the criminal element inside of that stuff, we see what happens. There's not a whole lot of fucking crime in Colorado over weed right now.
Then we're fucking taking care of these people. Like it's not
necessarily. Like, you see it as taking care of them, but we're not really taking care of them. All we're doing is this.
It's like,
and like if they fall down, like, hey, we can help you up. But for the most part, people don't fall down on most of these things.
Yeah, but how many times, there has to be some type of repercussions for them to ever have an incentive to get better and get away from it.
For sure, yeah. But that's an entirely separate question.
So,
you know what I mean?
Yeah. So, but back to my piece of the border piece of it is I think we build a wall. I think we also spend just as much money as we spend on a wall of putting in facilities to be able to process these people who want to come to the United States in a timely manner. It shouldn't take 9-10 months or a year to process them in. We provide them a process to be able to come here legally. And then we do that. America does that to bring people in that are good. And in that way that we know that the people who are coming over the walls are bad people. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I mean, that's a good way to say it, actually, because if you remove the good people that are just trying to accomplish something and they have to use means outside of the norm to do it. And in the border security part, we're talking about a pathway to citizenship, or what the thing that I proposed was more for migrant labor. So the German-Polish border was a real problem for a long time. So Germany decided two things. One, we're going to issue work visas or work permits, daily or monthly or weekly or whatever it is, work permits for people from Poland to come across the border, work in Germany for the day, for the week, for the month, whatever it is, and then go back. And if you're a German employer and you hire somebody from any of these other countries that don't have this permit, your business is shut down. No fines. Your business is done. You forfeit all of your assets, your personal assets as well. They make it so crazy that you would never even consider doing it. But that's part A. Part B is making sure that you can actually get the things you need. And in this case, it's labor, right?
Yeah.
And there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with the United States. NAFTA wasn't the worst thing of all time. It was the worst thing because we did it wrong. But the idea and principle was good. Migrant labor keeps food cheap in the United States. It keeps construction cheap, and that's not a bad thing.
But what makes it higher for us and takes away from that value is when we've got 40% of Americans on fucking welfare because they don't want to fucking work.
Well, we can't really. I mean, what are you going to do about that?
That's the thing, though. Is that's where it's kind of contradicting. Is like when we're, you know what I mean? Like when we're paying people to not work. Like, listen, we both run businesses, and we know that if we've got, you know, if we've got half of our employees that don't work and we're still having to pay them, right, and then we're turning around and having to pay other employees to do the work that half the employees don't want to do, you know, it doesn't equal out.
No, but that's
to the cheaper labor.
That to me, that is just weak governance in general, right? I mean, it's a symptom of the binary political system as well, because there's no real option.
I think
if somebody says, it's like that game you play, either or. Would you rather do this or this? And it's usually two bad options, right? And that's how American life works right now. It's two bad options, so people fucking just opt out.
Dude, we've got so many. The problem with America is we got too many fucking options.
Well, in a lot of ways,
we've got too many fucking options.
But we don't in this case.
The thing,
and politically, we don't.
If the federal government would back up, I think we need to make a choice. If the federal government's going to be giving money to all these states and running all these states, then let's just get rid of states.
Well,
let's just become one big state.
Why does the federal government have any money in the first place?
Well, so exactly, right?
The federal government should have to come to the states every time they need a fucking dime.
It's reversed.
Yeah, like there's the idea that we would pay federal taxes, to me, is insane. Well, there's nothing in the Constitution about us paying federal taxes. So that is absolute horseshit. Now, I make fun of people for saying all taxation is theft all the time, because that is a ridiculous premise, but it's rooted in some truth. The states are meant to, I say this all the time, but you want to be represented in your tax dollars at the lowest possible level. Yes. So I'll pay taxes to the county we're in, then I'll pay taxes to the state. But other than that, I personally should not be paying any federal tax. The revenue that the federal government has should come from the states, and the state should have to agree on that. That's how you get a representative democracy and a republic. That's what we are. We're not the idea that we can be taxed at the city, county, state, and federal level is absurd. Why the fuck did we allow this to happen in the first place? Why not? Because then if it's about voting power. That was the whole point of this country, is to make sure that the individual had the most possible power in their daily life. I think we got too many
federal employees.
For sure. I mean, you can blame Republicans for that, actually.
Yeah, for sure.
The Department of fucking Homeland Security. But if I pay my taxes at the lowest possible level, I have the biggest impact with my vote possible. And that is the entire point of this country, right? So if I pay all my taxes, even just to the city level, and then the city has to send it up to the county to the state, and then the states decide what money the federal government does and does not get. Then I can hold each level accountable with my vote. I don't know how many. I think 6 million people voted for in the election in Texas, something like that. I don't remember how many it was, 6 or 7 million,
something like that.
One out of that versus one out of 160 million. Obviously, I'm doing better. In the county here, or in the greater Austin metro area, I think there's 1 million people, something like that, which means voters. There's probably 400,000.
So we've got going up here. Well, because you like roads and things like that. Well, why is the federal government having anything to do with a road that's covered in a state? That would be like me asking, you know what I mean?
Well, that was the interstate highway system. It made sense at the Eisenhower at the time. It made sense, but now it should be.
Now it doesn't make sense.
No.
Now the state should be taking those roads over.
The way that should be
responsible for it.
Yeah, exactly. The way that should have happened is exactly what you're saying. Eisenhower started the interstate highway system, and it was a great thing. It was reimagining, I guess, of the railroad infrastructure. And it made total sense at the time.
Yep.
But the idea that the federal government still owns property inside of a state is completely backwards from how this country is supposed to be. Yeah. I enjoy reading the Federalist Papers. It's a mixed bag for me between Jefferson and Hamilton about whether or not you should land on the side of strong central government and a central bank or have more states' rights. I think we do need a strong central government. But strength isn't defined by revenue or power, revenue or control. It's defined by effectiveness. And our federal government could not be less effective.
Yeah.
And I don't mean just politicians. I mean the things that they make us do. By us, I mean federal employees, right?
Yeah.
Here's how it goes at least in Homeland Security. Congress will come out with a mandate. Hey, we need to do X number of inspections on this thing next year. Because the Congressional Review Service, CRS, decided this is how many it takes to get a good coverage and understanding of the situation and also be able to police it a little bit. Okay, cool. We know from OPM, Office of Personnel Management, that it takes X number of employees to accomplish this amount of stuff, right? So we hire X number of employees. We bring them in, but 2 out of the 4 of those people are shitbags. So instead of firing the 2 people and hiring 2 new people, they just hire 2 new people and keep those old 2 people. That's how it works. That's not efficient.
And if no, it's not. It's
not effective.
And if you want to know how efficient our government is, the government should have to be efficient. They should have to be able to, their budget should fall under what they get paid in tax, just like a fucking business, right? Like if they can't manage that money, then why do we have the federal government? Why is the federal government doing it, right?
Well, I mean, there's actually been talk about constitutional amendments requiring a balanced budget. It'll never happen because the United States is too large. That would be like telling, Amazon that they can't carry any debt. Right?
Here you go.
A company that large needs to carry some debt.
Let me tell you how efficient the government is.
Well, sure.
27 trillion debt.
Yeah, right.
What do you tell you?
Although the U.S. GDP is 24, I think it's 24 trillion. Oh, it's 20.5. Well, that's in 2018. So it's probably 22 trillion right now.
It's 27, the U.S. national debt.
Right. Let me pitch it to you this way.
27 trillion.
If you're let's say you're a private citizen, you make $100,000 a year. I'm using it as a round number. The general idea behind home ownership for a long time has been your mortgage should be something like 3 times your annual salary, right? Because you're going to spend about 15 to 30% of your annual salary on rent or mortgage. This is back in the day. Now, obviously, it's different, but you're going to spend about that much, which means over the course of 30 years, you pay a little mortgage and you pay it off in time with no issues, right? That's a good formula to work on. Granted, the federal government's not a business per se, but
you think your mortgage should be what? 30%?
Your mortgage should be 3 times what your annual salary is. Typically, that's a good rate. So, if you make $100,000 a year, you should be looking at $300,000 homes, basically. Our GDP is 21 to 22 trillion, and our debt is 27. That's not that bad. I mean, honestly, it's not that bad. Now, there are economic impacts for that, credit ratings and borrowing power in the case of emergencies and shit, but we haven't been having emergencies. The reason our debt is increasing isn't because of emergencies, it's because we suck. It's because we're spending billions and billions and billions of dollars on stupid bullshit, like $5 trillion on Iraq and Afghanistan, $5 to $7 trillion.
But you wonder why, like you wonder why our states are having to rely on the federal government so much when we're paying 35% in federal taxes and whatever 7 or whatever your state tax is, Texas no state tax. You wonder why the states are fucking struggling?
You should hear some of the stupid shit I hear liberals say. Honestly, I'm going to dig into Republicans here in a few minutes, but I want to talk about this stupid liberal bullshit just for a second. So the bailout stuff with COVID, right? Mm-hmm. I've heard a lot of people say that, and it's a good point from the conservative side. Well, it's just the federal government giving our own money back to us. That is absolutely true. So one of the arguments I've heard from the left, or read rather from the left frequently over the last couple of weeks, is that, I mean, that's like saying that a business that's paying you a salary is paying you back with your own money just because you shopped at that bit. No, dude, this is not the federal government's not a goddamn business that we owe our patronage to.
No.
You know what I mean? It is a service. Think about your electrical bill. If you spent, this is for the average citizen out there. Let's say you make somewhere between $50,000 and $100,000 a year. That's the average American. And you get something like $2,000 to $4,000 back on your taxes at the end of the year. Imagine it's anything else. Imagine it's your power bill. And you're paying, like, God damn, my power bill is like $600-700 a month. What the fuck is going on? And at the end of the year, like, hey, here's $2,000 back. Sorry, we overcharged you. Like, what the fuck? Why?
Yeah.
You would never allow that to happen. That place would go out of business. Mm-hmm. So there are better indicators that the federal government sucks than the national debt, in my opinion. The national debt is easy enough to pay off, right? I mean, we have so many assets in America. That, to me, that is a red herring. But it's a symptom of... But
why is the federal... Let me go back to this. Why is the federal government owning anything?
Well, look, here's a good example of that. So if you're a business and you're trying to get... all right, I'll use this analogy. This is kind of fucked up, but it's like a girl getting pregnant, trying to trap you in a relationship, frankly.
That's what the federal government is.
Yeah. They assume responsibility, risk, money, and debt. And now it's a too big to fail situation. It's an untenable, so you can't just opt out of it. There's too many moving parts at this point to opt out.
No, but you can scale it down. I mean, you can get rid of some of the employees.
I agree with that. I'm just saying that's their goal, is to get as big as possible.
Well, yeah, the more you, I mean, look, that's what they've done, is they've been this dealer, this drug dealer mm-hmm. of money to these states of like, hey, let me come bail your education system out. Now look at our fucking education system. It's as fucked up as the federal government, right? Like, you look at all these things the federal government had, these bailouts and all this, and basically all you're doing is you're selling your soul to the devil. Mm. And the federal government, how can you expect, let me ask you this, if you went to a bank, the federal government is kind of like a bank with money. Mm. Would you trust a bank to tell you how to, like, if you had to borrow a loan from the bank and they said, hey, but I'm going to have to put these restrictions and this is how you're going to have to run your business? Like, fuck no.
You know, I expect, I guess no. At this point, I just expect people to be people. Like, if you assume that everybody's full of shit, they're only thinking about themselves and they only have their own self-interest in mind, you can figure out a lot of things from what they say. Like, people will say, oh, I need this or I need that, or I think this or I think that. If you view that from the lens that they're coming from, and not everybody does it on purpose. I mean, look, everybody feels like they're all alone in the world, and that is a scary feeling. I believe it elevates your fight or flight instinct at the social level, which is problematic. Mm-hmm. And it just is what it is. So,
you know where a good place to be alone is?
In a ghost bed?
In a ghost bed.
How far into the show are we? I like doing this live because I can see how far in
30 minutes.
We've just been talking about bullshit for 30 minutes.
Yeah. But you know where like a good spot to be alone is, since we're talking about being alone?
I mean, it's also a good spot to not be alone.
Yeah, I mean, I guess if you wanted to be with your dog.
I don't know if
You got 2 dogs, don't you? No wonder you got 2 dogs.
I'm looking in the ad copy here from Ghostbed. It doesn't say anything about having sex with your dogs.
It does. Oh, you sent me the wrong one.
Yeah.
Maybe this was your personal one.
Yeah, that was just my rambling last night.
Oh, wow. Yeah, sorry about that. I read the wrong thing. This was this was a note that Dan had put in.
Yeah. It's actually a picture, but whatever.
It is. Sorry. Wow. If you want to tell them everything. Ghostbed is, they've got they're already running their Black Friday sales, right?
Yeah, they are actually, yeah.
30% off site-wide.
Yeah, it's wild.
Ghostbeds, man, they're pretty badass. They have this cool technology. I love my Ghostbed. Do you like yours?
Of course I do. I've not slept on, except for in hotels and shit.
Yeah.
I've not slept on anything other than a Ghostbed in almost 4 years.
Yeah.
And I don't.
Do you have the cooling pillows?
I've got I've got the Luxe mattress. I've got the adjustable base. I've got 4.
It's pretty funny. I'm trying to
pillows.
act like I don't know what bed you have. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well.
Yeah.
I mean, look. We're just being polite.
We're just being polite.
Yeah.
But it's really awesome. Ghostbed is so supportive of all the people who are out there making it happen for us. They got 30% off site-wide. If you order a mattress or a bundle, they're going to throw in 2 free pillows, 2 Ghostbed bundles. You can go to ghostbed.com/bundles. Mm-hmm. They also have an adjustable base. You got the adjustable base?
I do, yeah.
You do?
Mm-hmm. Use it all the time.
Adjustable base.
Actually, it's an interesting thing because depending on a lot of factors, your body, how you feel comfortable, if you have back issues and shit like that.
What other factors?
The way your dick size, all sorts of stuff. Depending on how you need to sleep, you can adjust. Like some people need to sleep at like a 15-degree angle. If you have hiatal hernia, you're familiar with that? It's like a hernia behind the esophagus that causes acid reflux, right? And it's really simple, but I remember my dad had it when he was a kid, or when I was a kid rather, and the doctor just told him to put 2 bricks underneath the backside of the bed, so he's sleeping at a little bit of an angle. Now you just reach over, grab your thing, and if you have heart, like seriously, I challenge, if any of you guys have an adjustable base, or if you just have bricks or 2x4s lying around, if you get in bed at night and you feel like you're having this unnecessary acid reflux for no reason, elevate your bed a little bit. Not your head, not with pillows. I mean, like under the bed, elevate the bed so you're sleeping a little bit of an angle. Then you will see the value of the adjustable base. It's not all about turning your bed into a couch.
And then it's
there's
got
actual medical reasons for this stuff.
20-year warranty.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, that's going to outlast you. 20-year warranty.
I will not be alive in 20 years.
How old are you, Dan?
39.
You'll be alive in 20 years.
There's no fucking way, dude.
You want to bet? Let's make a bet right here.
I mean, if we bet, I'm just going to shoot myself in 19 years.
You won't do it.
Oh, yeah. Well, actually, what I'm going to do is...
You won't.
Put a water impulse...
If you do it...
On my head. I want to put like a gallon of water on my head in a shape charge and just walk into a room like, hey, guys. And it's like my whole head disappears, but my body keeps walking.
Can I watch
fucking
it?
Dope. Yeah.
Yeah, just don't do it without me, but you won't do it. So I'll see you in 20 years. We'll still be here on the American Party Podcast talking about another 20 years. So...
PC says... They want pics of me in my bed, preferably with me in it. Clothing optional. You need to verify your gender. Because if you're not a dude, it's not going to work. What are we doing here? We're talking about Ghostbed.
Yeah,
Ghostbed.com.
101 nights. You can send it back. Ghostbed.com/Drinkin Bros.
I like how they just let us do whatever we want.
I do too.
Like the only... we've never gotten a complaint for them about any of the fucked up shit we've said.
None?
Nope, not
once.
once.
Remember that one time we had with Jack, we wrote
Big Combs?
Big Combs.
Yeah.
All right, back to, man, I think this is a big topic.
Eric Reichstetter, we're going to get into that actually right now.
Yes.
The troop withdrawal thing. So
what do you think?
The Trump administration said this week they want to reduce, we talked about this a little bit yesterday, on Drinkin Bros. They want to reduce troop sizes in both Iraq and Afghanistan by mid-January, which is code for before the inauguration of Biden. Troop levels are going to be reduced to 2,500 each country. But right now, that's only 500 people in Iraq. So there's 3,000 there now. They're just going to remove 500 people. And then there's 4,500 in Afghanistan, so they're going to remove 20.
I don't care what anybody says. We need to bring them all home.
Look, I agree. I think I hear all of these pundits and generals, and I've been pretty clear about how I feel about the generals that got us into these wars in the first place.
Yep.
The generals and all that stuff are saying, oh, we can't do the fucking, even Crenshaw is like, hey, they want to fucking, like him and Justin Amish, I don't know how you say his name, Amash, he's a libertarian guy. They're in a big tiff over this right now, and Crenshaw makes the point that we know these guys want to kill us, so we got to do something about it, which is a reasonable point of view.
I mean, then we need to be in every part of the world then.
Right.
I mean, get fucking used to it.
Exactly. So, I mean, like, America for a very long time has been relatively safe from foreign incursion for a number of reasons. One, we're a superpower. Now we're the only real superpower, although China is getting close. They don't have the military capability yet, but they're getting there economically. The other part is that we have standoff. I mean, what other country in Europe or Asia, the Middle East, has, thousands of miles on either side of it of just water?
Yep.
So you have to come through Canada. So we really only have to secure, the oceans, which is a different type of force, and you can cover much more ground with sonar than you can with your eyeballs, or the Canadian and Mexican borders, right? I mean, that's what we've been reduced to, and that's why the Monroe Doctrine was so popular back in the day. Even though we were the hegemon for North America, like, we protected Canada and Mexico, but for the most part, we didn't get involved in foreign wars, and it took a lot to get us involved in World War I and II, even after World War I. Even after seeing the threat of the Nazis, it was very difficult for a Democratic president to get Republicans on his side to go to war against Hitler, right? Yeah. So we've got this history of being against meddling in foreign affairs until Wild Bill Donovan and the OSS, right? Once they got a taste of power in the CIA, what would become the CIA later, that was pretty much it. Between Wild Bill Donovan and I mean, our strategy of going the FBI directors, J. Edgar Hoover, between those two assholes, that has been, those two men are responsible for the expansion of the federal government as it is today, in my opinion. I mean,
look, I come home. Like, look, first off, I don't understand why Dan is, I don't understand why he's so stuck on, I don't understand what difference he thinks is being made or what protection is being provided to America by being over there, right? Like, we might be getting intel, but we don't need a ton of troops over there. You're not letting them fucking do anything. Let's just be honest here.
Yeah, and why are we publicizing? Like, if we have
killing
people,
bad guys.
No,
like, we're not killing fucking bad guys. And
well,
I guarantee you,
that is and isn't true. There's a lot of JTACs.
They're doing that anyway.
They're
doing that in Africa right now. They're doing that all over the place.
But the airstrikes are being conducted from what do you call it? Containers in just north of Las Vegas. Like, they're not happening anywhere nearby.
We're doing hits in Syria. We're doing hits all over the world right now by the people who need to be doing them. But
that's a MU that's carrying SEAL teams and Rangers and special forces. But that's what I'm saying
is we don't need to be in Iraq or Afghanistan. Like, I think that people and this is the unfortunate part. This is a frustrating piece about when government officials get up there and they want to keep the troops there. You're not letting them do their job. So bring them the fuck home.
It's actually, it's funny, from the latest Call of Duty video game, from the single player mode, the young black kid that's he's not 22nd, but he's an SAS guy. I can't remember his name now, but he said he's just kind of lamenting not being able to fight the war, and he said something to the effect of, tell me where and tell me when, but don't tell me how.
Yeah, that's it.
Imagine you hire a general contractor. Like, you're going to tell them, like, hey, I want this, this, and this, and I want it to look this way. And they show you a plan, and then you adjust. But they're the ones cutting the drywall. They're the ones screwing the screws in. They're the ones doing the painting. If you show up and start micromanaging that, everything goes away, right? The job sucks. It becomes super inefficient. You can't do things that way. So why, in what other profession do you see people that have no fucking clue about war? Like, I hear, one of the people I've seen recently is Sean Whalen. I want to look this up because he posted something really stupid that pissed me off the other day. It's one of his fucking t-shirt designs or something like that. And it's, God, what does it say? It's this whole lions not sheep thing. And it's, God damn it. It's something about violence. Like, oh, you don't, or it says give violence a chance. Like, bitch, what do you know about violence?
Yeah.
The most violent thing you've done is run your fucking mouth on the internet.
Or like you see all these people calling for war.
Yeah, like are you ready for war, bro? Because
you ain't never seen it.
I've kind of been there before. It's not exactly a fun time.
Yeah, so, I mean, and we're not even at a point of war, right? I mean, we're not even at a point for like this country's not even at a point to where it's time to call. You know, people keep asking like, is it time for civil war? Or it's time, and it's like we're not even close. We're not even fucking close.
No.
First off, most of these people don't even have a clue what they would be willing to die for. So what are you going to be fighting for? You know what I mean? Like, look, there's plenty of opportunity for it to be going on, and it's not like we're not even close to fighting internally like that. You know, we're just like a dysfunctional family in America, right? we're not anywhere near civil war status.
I don't think so. No, I definitely don't think so. But it is, you know, where do you draw that line? I guess is a good question. So,
well, I think that like if you feel like you're gonna put restrictions on us, going over there and fighting, like war should be so fucking ugly that when we show up, they know that we're gonna come through and we're gonna level everything. If we're going back in, if we're gonna rebuild it, and we're gonna come in and we're going to have to occupy it. And you're going to have to give us rules on how we're going to do it, then it's not bad enough to send us.
No, if any, it's the same thing I say with taxes. Any charge that shows up on my credit card, I want an expense report on it, right? I want to understand why you made that purchase and how it's helping. If you're sending people to war, doubly so. There better be a reason, and there better be a fucking plan.
Yeah.
Neither one of these wars had a plan. At no point have they had a plan. There have been micro plans like the surges that have happened.
Nope.
But in general, there's been no real plan.
Every time there was a plan, we were going towards that direction, and then it changes with every political environment. Right? Get us out, bring us home, done.
Yeah.
Tell me why you think being in Afghanistan or Iraq makes us safer.
I don't think it does.
I don't know
how it could. I mean,
I want to know how it could.
If we're going to talk real about this, it is our support. There's two things that have led to, well, three things, I suppose, that have led to
the people who are
Islamic.
watching right now, I see some argument over here. So please write in here. I'm asking one simple question. What does us being in Afghanistan or Iraq, you know, and I also want to know this will be my question to ask anyone is do you really, especially anyone who was over there serving, like I want to know this. Do you feel like that you walked through the streets of America and that anyone you took out or any guy you lost over there that you cared about, do you feel like that the people in America are free and safer because that life was given?
Oh, man, no.
It keeps the next Osama bin Laden from planning the next 9/11.
But it doesn't.
It doesn't.
It doesn't.
No, it doesn't. Osama bin Laden lived 10 years or however many years after almost 10 or 11 years after, 12 years after that. In Pakistan, it doesn't. Like, it doesn't.
No. Well,
they're planning it.
Because he was killed, in May of 2011?
What keeps Osama bin Laden from flying planes and being able to do that is the security that was set up in America and the protocols that were put in America.
But also buy-in from partner countries, right? That's the issue with it's just like a business. You can't isolate yourself entirely and not help other people and expect them to help you when you need it. That's not how it works. It's not a weakness.
But they don't. Did Afghanistan or Iraq want our help?
No. There's no way.
That's my point to you, right? Like, and here's the thing: is if who do you think as far as a one of the leaders of the world? Who do you think has more of a threat from Afghanistan and Iraq than the United States of America?
Well, Afghanistan's the biggest thing they're a threat to is Russia, to be honest. And that's because Russia wants to send its oil from its states still. That's why they're still fighting over. It's not just hubris. It's not resentment that's causing them to fight in Georgia and Ukraine. It's oil, right? They want to control the oil reserves. They want to control the manufacturing in those countries and blah, blah, blah. It's not just about expanding territory. This is not the middle of the second millennia. You know what I mean? This is things are serious now. And people make very calculated decisions. If you think Vladimir Putin became the richest man in the world by being stupid, you're wrong, right? He's a very smart man, and he's not to be underestimated. However, we're talking about our foreign policy, like you said, securing this area. Man, the generals, the chiefs of staff that allowed us to get into this war, I know I rant on it all the time, but they are fucking real pieces of shit. It's not an easy thing to send somebody else into a combat situation, even if you're a team leader and you're telling your saw gunner to go through the door first. That is still something that I personally was uncomfortable with. The reason Derek White got shot through the leg is because he wanted to go through the door first as a team leader. And it's not the right answer, but we can't do it any other way. There's no way we can do it any other way. So these people that, I understand the concept of putting people in the line of danger, but man, the bar was so low for them. I think we really need to start reimagining what the requirement should be for Congress to declare war, and what levity or what we allow the president to do unilaterally. Or not.
And Dan asked here, he says, if we leave now, does it do the same as leaving in 92? Probably, but the difference is we didn't mess up. Like, leaving wasn't where we messed up in 92. Going back in 2001 and 2002 was where we fucked up. Right? Like, it's kind of like going back to an ex. Yeah.
I mean, we definitely shouldn't have done...
I mean, I'm not saying that we shouldn't be doing strategic hits with special forces and with our spec ops side of it, but I think the days of us being on the ground and occupying and staying inside with ground troops and having to build all this shit up is I don't think any of us can come back and say that we do you feel like,
of course,
you feel like we were, let me ask you this. Do you feel like any of the guys you lost, do you feel like, do you walk around and look at your family and see anybody on the streets and go, you know what? They're safer because of me.
No.
Like, when I hear veterans from this, like I get we fought for their freedom.
Well, technically.
But we didn't make anyone freer or safer.
No.
Do you agree with that? Am I wrong? Maybe it's my own.
No, I don't. I don't think anything we've done in Iraq or Afghanistan has made anybody safer.
There we go.
I think being in Iraq and Afghanistan, however, has had some tangible benefits, just not for us. It's had tangible benefits in the military-industrial complex.
At the expense of us.
At the expense of us, yeah. So 100%. This is why
100%.
Dick Cheney is one of the worst people in American history, in my opinion. He has leveraged his position as a congressman, then as SecDef, then as vice president, and then as chief of Halliburton to drum or beat the war drum, send people to war, and then profit from it later. Here's what I know. Removing troops from the Middle East would cost billions of dollars for these military-industrial complex owners. For Halliburton, Raytheon, General Dynamics, fucking Boeing, Lockheed Martin, all these assholes. Right? Now, Boeing and Lockheed do other stuff, so they'd be fine. But these other companies, they'd be fucked.
Let me ask you this, because I've said this.
And that's not going to happen, because representatives, like look at who Raytheon and General Dynamics and all these other assholes give money to during political campaigns. You would think that it would be Republicans, but it's not. It's everybody. They give money to everybody. Anybody that had, like in Washington State, even the liberal senators there.
So I got lobbyists up there.
Yeah, they have to make sure that those jobs for Boeing and Lockheed stay there.
So, but let me ask you this. This has been my view on this the whole time. I can promise you the biggest threat to the United States of America and Americans is the Mexican cartel. Like 100%. Mexico,
it's rough
as far as a direct threat to the United States of America and Americans, it's the cartel down there. Like, like that's where they're going to come from. I think we come back. We pull the troops back in, and if we want to go and focus on anything, it needs to be fucking Mexico.
Well, we are doing that.
Well, but
you're just not going to see it on the news because it is off book stuff. I mean, we have operated. I'm not talking about.
Okay, let me ask you: the guys
what's
you
that
killed,
goddamn movie?
The guys you were hunting over there in Afghanistan or Iraq,
right?
Who do you think was more of a threat to the United States of America?
Definitely
them
not
or
them.
fucking the cartel?
No, the people we were tracking down in Iraq and Afghanistan, the vast majority, 99%, were just opportunist criminals and warlords and shit. They weren't fucking terrorists. I mean, saying it's funny. People on the right very frequently, when there's a left-leaning politician that won't use the word terrorists in regard to some of these people, they call them insurgents or whatever the case is. That's kind of a fucking pedantic differentiation, in my opinion. Crime is crime. Calling it terrorism doesn't make it worse. Terrorism is a very specific and narrow definition of a very specific type of crime.
Yeah.
Brandon Street, yeah, it's not like Sicario. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm not talking about people driving through downtown traffic, coming across the border, getting in gunfights and shit. But there are U.S. operators in northern Mexico, particularly in the central area, on what I would say is a regular basis. But yeah, I think you're probably right about that. But again, you're talking about physical safety. What role does the American warfighter play in just protecting the way of life of America? Now, is it more or less or the same level of honor, I guess, for lack of a better phrase, for you to be fighting to make sure our economy stays intact or fighting to save an actual human being's life? Is there a difference for you between those two things? Well, I mean, what is it that we're fighting for exactly? Are we fighting just to protect the physical safety of our people, or are we fighting to protect the institution of America itself? And how far down do you take that? Well, if somebody's affecting our currency, should we go fuck them up, right?
Well, I mean, I think it's look, war is the last 10 yards of negotiation and politics.
Right.
War is after all political, everything, negotiations are exhausted, is when war is made. That's when the troops are used. They are the last 10 yards of political, of political, whatever you want to call it, like political negotiation. And I mean, it's like, it shouldn't be like, our military shouldn't be used as a threat to anybody. It shouldn't be used to punk anybody. It shouldn't be used to bully anybody. It shouldn't be used as any of those.
Right.
But what it should be is it should be so fucking lethal, and we should fight so fucking nasty that when we do use it, it's over with. And I think that's where we fucked up. Like, why are we going in and rebuilding what we fuck up? Right? Like, why? Like, this, we have gone from being respected and being, look, you know, where we are as powerful as we are, and we're trying to fucking, you know, we're trying to win wars by making everyone happy at the same time.
Like, America's.
Let's you know what we've done is we have made our war fighting strategy politically correct.
Yeah, which is
think
insane.
about that.
If you think about the way. Think about the 1980s and how Russia felt about America. Now, if you read a lot of the declassified conversations that happened in the direct line between the Kremlin and the White House, you'll see that both sides of that conversation took each other and their power very seriously. I mean, for years. There was literally a direct line of communication from the Kremlin to the White House just in case of emergency. Like, hey, we've seen it in movies and shit like that, but that was a real thing. Like, just in case, like, hey, we're about to fucking press these nuke buttons. I, the president of Russia, need to talk to you, the president of America, right now and see if this is actually what the fuck, because you can't come back from this shit. Yeah. Now, if Russia or China or any of these other countries, even smaller terrorist groups or even smaller countries in the Mideast, or cartels in South Central America are wondering to themselves, if they're sitting in rooms right now talking about potential strategies on how to deal with America, they're probably not taking our military into account at this point, because they know we've cried wolf as a country. We sent people for no reason, and now people don't have an appetite for actual, like, good use of the military anymore. I don't know how you fix all this stuff. I do. Here's my real problem. The economics behind the military industrial complex. It's been around for a long time. Eisenhower warned of it. He was a general. Like, he warned of it. A lot of people have warned about it since the 1940s, but it's obviously gotten out of control. Billions and billions, if not trillions of dollars are spent every single year on this shit. And I think it is myopic on the part of the military industrial complex members themselves not to pivot at this point. I think they're making a huge mistake in the same way that when the railroads didn't start building delivery trucks, once roads were built, the interstate highway system was built, they fucking collapsed because they saw themselves as a railroad company, not a transportation company, what they really were. The military industrial complex sees itself as a military industrial complex, but what they really do is provide a means of security for the country. They provide tools which the country can use to secure itself. Now,
yeah, but there's a lot more money. So here's the thing.
There's not, though, because if they're being myopic, there's not a lot more money. I know what you're going to say. There's not a lot more money in all that shit than there is in peace, because the peace requires stuff.
That's not what I'm going to say. I'm going to say that, look, I know, like, these companies, like, you take, I won't name their names of them because it could cause problems. But I'll tell you this: they make more money through the federal government than they do when they have to compete here. They get this sole sourcing and the way that the contracting works up there. Yeah. They make so much fucking money off of wars, and they don't have to really do the same marketing strategy, and they don't have to be competitive on pricing like they do on the other market.
But they're providing either services, if it's intelligence, or equipment. Service and equipment, that is one step above an agrarian economy. Like, you go from farming to providing equipment to providing service to providing information service. Technology is where it's at now. If you're not pivoting, if you're a huge company like that, you're not pivoting into new tech. What's the biggest thing causing our lack of security as a country and our overspend on defense? My opinion is our dependence on foreign oil, right? We wouldn't have to pay attention to any of these assholes in the Middle East if we didn't need their oil. We don't actually need their oil, but if we didn't use their oil, whatever you want to call it, if I'm Raytheon or General Dynamics or fucking Halliburton or any of these companies, I'm gonna still make the shit I'm making now, but I'm looking hard at renewable energy, some way to make energy inside the United States where I make the money from it. Yep. That's what I'm doing, because it has the dual benefit of, it secures our country. But it also, you can make into perpetuity. You would make, if you develop the technology the way patent laws work in the United States, if you came up with a way to actually store solar energy and transport solar energy in a way that was efficient, because right now it's not. If you could do that, you would make billions. You would make trillions of dollars from that. And then it would expand globally, and the oil trade in general would go away. But they're not going to do that, because security doesn't really matter. It's all about making money.
What do you think about, since we're talking about security, man?
Let's talk about Simply Safe.
Why don't you talk a little bit about Simply Safe?
Well, from this, it's funny. I was reading a copy yesterday, and one of their first lines is about how break-ins go up pretty big. It's like 40 to 60% during the holiday season. I don't know why.
Well, I mean, people are trying to steal shit because they know that it's in there, right?
Probably, yeah. But I think it might be a Home Alone situation. People are out of town more.
Yeah.
Home Alone informs most of my opinions, to be honest.
Home Alone?
Yeah. That's why I'm not a big fan of pigeons. So Simply Safe is a home security system. They're having a huge holiday sale. It's 30% off any Simply Safe system, and you get a free security camera with it. They are, by and large, considered the best home security system in the U.S. So if you're going to be traveling for the holidays, you're staying put, 30% off, free security camera. I use them because I don't like anybody coming anywhere near me. And
is that how you always see me sneaking in?
Yes. Popular Mechanics and Forbes say Simply Safe is the best. They've got an arsenal of sensors. The best thing about it actually is that you can set it up yourself. I don't know if you've gotten internet recently, but with COVID, it's so much better. You don't have to wait for some dickhole to show up in a 4 to 6 hour window anymore. They just send you all the stuff with a guide or a YouTube link on how to set it up. It's basically like that. It takes you about 30 minutes to set the whole system up in your house. It's like double-sided tape, I think, 3M tape, and you just like put the sensors up, and then that's it.
Cool.
Right? It's 30% off Simply Safe plus a free security camera, and that is simplysafe.com/American Party.
As soon as I get mine in, I will do a video on it.
Yeah.
And show you how easy it is to set up.
It really, we'll do a video setting it up.
Yeah, badass.
It's pretty easy. It's simplysafe.com/American Party, and there's an app, you can log into it, see the motion and the cameras from wherever the fuck you are if you're on vacation for a couple weeks and stuff like that. It's simplysafe.com/American Party. So go check that out. And I'm a big fan of that. If you have even one of these, even their baseline security makes you about 60% less likely to get broken into. There's that old adage, you don't have to be faster than bear, you just got to be faster than the other guy. Right? Yeah. And criminals, they prey on weakness. If they see any sign of strength, they just move on to the next thing. They're going to take the path of least resistance.
Yeah.
They just move on to the next thing. So why put yourself in any danger at all? That's an easy step to take. It's not very much money. You're getting a great deal on it this time of year in particular.
Yeah.
So now's the time to do that stuff.
So what do you think, Dan?
About what?
Can the new media save America?
I don't know. I for a while I thought it might be possible. I know, at least in comedy, it's been the only refuge. With all the politically correct stuff that's going on, very difficult to have an honest conversation with people, and that's what comedy is. Comedy is an honest conversation with a little bit of hyperbole sprinkled in, just to point out the absurdity of life.
Yeah.
It's not to make fun of people or be mean or any of that stuff. It's to, push boundaries and things like that. So I was at WTFI's house last night watching Giorgio do stand-up.
How'd that go? We were talking about it.
Yeah, he always does very well. He told a whole story about peeing his pants and as an adult, which is something you would think may have happened in college, but it was last week, so whatever. One of the guys that was telling jokes was he was pretty funny, and he used the word tranny, but the reason he said it is because he was telling a story about how he accidentally banged one, but obviously it was a joke, none of it was real. But he's like, then he used the phrase, I can say that because I banged one, right? Which is, it's just a bastardization of the idea. He was making fun, clearly, to the intelligent human being, he was making fun of people who say it's okay I have a black friend if they tell a racist joke. He's making fun of that premise that it's okay to be a dick if you just have some experience with that person. That's obviously nonsense, right?
Yeah.
But he's making fun of that, and then some white lady in the crowd, obviously wearing some kind of stupid captain's hat. She looked like an asshole. She was wearing like some stupid sequin captain's hat and like a fucking mini fur coat or some shit. It's like, no, you can't say stuff like this. Shut the fuck up. You're at a comedy show. You didn't care about him talking about dead dogs, murdering dogs 5 minutes ago, but you care about the word tranny, really? That's the one that fucking got it for you. Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
You can't have an honest conversation in comedy anymore. That's a real problem, and we're having even bigger problems with the media now. It started in television, I think.
But don't you think that like the reason that woman feels that way about a word, right? The reason she feels that way about a word is kind of like because the media has told her to feel that way about the word, kind of like the toilet paper thing, right? Like, remember when everybody went out and ran out because the media told them there was going to be a toilet paper shortage? They ran out and got toilet paper for a virus that doesn't even make you have an upset stomach.
It's pretty funny, to be honest. I mean,
like the
people
media
are very impressionable.
It's so impressionable, and like
I call it oppression FOMO. I've been talking about this for about a year now. these people have a fear. They've never had any real, this is a white woman, probably from somewhere, either in California or the Midwest, based on her accent. It's hard to tell. She didn't have a huge California accent, but they can be kind of, their accent can be difficult to pin down sometimes, unless they're from certain areas. But it was, she used some verbiage that made me think she might be from the Midwest. At any rate, white woman, middle-aged, probably in her early 30s, from the Midwest. What struggle exactly with regard to personal identity or race or gender or sexuality have you faced as a straight white woman from the Midwest? Zero is the answer to that question. So you feel bad about it when you look around and see people struggling. Like, imagine how you feel, and I'm not joking about this. This is a real thing. Imagine how you feel sitting at a fucking stoplight, and you're just fucking, you just went by a store and got some food, and you're eating all the fries before you even get home. Maybe you're eating half of your wife's fries before you get home, right? Because you're an asshole, or your husband's, or your children's, because fuck them, they're kids.
Yeah, true.
Then you pull up to the stoplight and you've got a whole fistful of fries you're about to jam into your fat fucking mouth, and you look over to the left and there's a fucking homeless dude staring at you. Right? That's how these people feel. Mm-hmm. They feel like their success or fortune, good fortune in life, somehow makes them less than or makes them guilty of something that's not true.
Yeah, I don't feel...
You should not feel guilty about that.
I don't feel guilty.
You should feel an impetus to help people that need help, for sure.
Like me,
but
like
it shouldn't make you feel bad, and that's the problem. We've started to allow our empathy to make us feel guilty, and that's not what the point is. The point of empathy is to create action. It's not to make you feel guilty about your own status.
So like my success, like, has allowed me, I don't feel guilty for it. Like, and nor would I ever help anybody else to make me lose it. Right. Like, because my success allows me to go help people. Right. My success allows me to go become a firefighter and become an EMT and go to paramedic school to be able to help others. It allows me that freedom to have a little bit of flexibility in my schedule to where I can, still maintain my life, but be able to help others. It's kind of like the boat analogy, right? Like if my boat isn't good, and the bigger the boat I can fill, the more people I can have on my boat to help. And like, that's just accurate, part of it, right? And
you can't be successful. That's the problem. And it's the problem with the idea of welfare and government overreach in general, is that when you take away from success to try to make up for failure, then obviously there's going to be some kind of problem there. You make the successful less successful. So you're attacking the institution that's allowing this other thing to even exist. You know what I mean? It doesn't make any sense to do it that way. So at any rate, these people have oppression FOMO. They've never been through anything like that. Not that they haven't had problems. Maybe they had a bad childhood. Who the fuck knows? But they've never had these kind of problems. So in order to feel like they're part of something, or to not feel guilty anymore, it's essentially thoughts and prayers, right? That's essentially what it is, and it's nonsense. So but there's no standard for like just honest intellectual conversation anymore. There's the AP does, the Associated Press, right, which used to be, they just grab a headline information and throw it out there. Now it's editorial content for the most part. Major networks have all taken their sides. The vast majority of mainstream media, cable news channels, are very anti-right, and even Fox News turned on Trump during this election.
Yeah.
And so did Drudge, by the way. If you wonder what that's all about, like Lindsey Graham walking through the Senate the other day and fist bumping Kamala Harris, whatever the fuck her name is. If you want to wonder what that's about, that is a victory lap for people who've been in government for decades.
Yeah.
Who are now happy that the one guy that exposed them all as frauds is going to leave. That's what that is. If you think that Trump leaving office right now, even if you're a liberal, is a good thing for American politics, you're out of your fucking mind. And it's not because, like, a lot of his policies were pretty successful, but that's not even the point. The reason people hated him so much is because he did out in public what everybody else is doing in private, and it embarrassed them, right? Now they have to start answering all these questions. They don't want to answer all these relationships and ties get exposed that they wanted to keep secret and blah, blah, blah.
Oh, for sure.
And now they're upset about it. Now we see all these new companies standing up, like Rumble and Parler, that are mostly anti-censorship, but obviously in today's political climate, mostly conservatives are taking advantage of those platforms, which is not great, in my opinion. People fleeing social media giants are fleeing social media giants anytime anything new pops up. Any other new options, like the Libertarian Party, anytime anything new pops up, people are like, yes, finally there's something else, even if it's not a good option. I don't know that the independent media is going to be able to do it. I thought there was some hope when people like Shapiro started the Daily Wire, Ezra Klein and those guys started Vox back in the day. There are two people that are on opposite sides of the political spectrum. To not have influence over what they're doing, right? Because once corporate influence enters, that's pretty much the end of it.
It's fucked.
Now I can't find anybody on the left that is just a reasonable, clear-thinking person that doesn't have severe delusions, particularly about Donald Trump.
Yeah.
Like, he's a fucking racist. And he's a 74-year-old man. Yeah, he's probably racist. He's a 74-year-old white billionaire from New York. Yeah, probably racist. Probably racist like every other fucking old white man. You know what I mean?
They grew up in a different time.
But were his policies racist?
Yeah.
No. Now, the way he treated the gay community, not great.
Yeah.
And Pence is a piece of shit when it comes to that stuff, too.
Yeah.
But finding people on the left that can even be intellectually honest right now. The only guy that I can think of that's an American political commentator that is truly, in my opinion, right down the line and is open to new information is Dave Rubin. He's one, well, not the only one, but one of the only people that I would really, if a new social concept or government concept came up and I wanted a true opinion based in reality and logic, he's one of the people that I would go to hear about it, which is good because he's going to be on Drinkin Bros next week or 2 weeks from now.
Oh, badass.
But it doesn't seem like the new media stuff worked because Daily Wire, I mean, look, Daily Wire is actually way better than their counterparts on the left because they don't have to make shit up. Like they're fighting an information war and the left is fighting an identity war, right? So they can fight with facts while the left is fighting with feelings. So obviously they're going to win that fight most of the time. And it seems like they're more right, but the left is just fighting the wrong fight. But either way, even these independent news media outlets, and you saw it with like all these political candidates trying to buy off social media influencers, even the independent stuff is just the same old bullshit and a new rapper.
So what can we do?
I think that real intellectual conflict is the only way to solve any of these issues, right? Jordan Peterson says it all the time. If we can't fight with our words, we're going to fight with our fists.
It's fact.
And do we want to live in a country where the physically strongest person rules? Probably not, right? I mean, that's not, over time, this isn't the goddamn
because then you would be ran by Tim Kennedy.
More or less, which in that case wouldn't be bad.
No, it wouldn't be bad. But
the guy that comes after Tim Kennedy would be the problem, right?
Yeah.
It's always the problem.
Yeah, it would work for Tim Kennedy for a while, but then somebody would train and Tim gets old one day and then, somebody comes after him.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
I think we need real intellectual conflict and we need some honesty. So if I'm giving you directions through a house, let's say I'm on the radio and I'm trying to tell you how to get to me right now because I just got fucking shot in the leg or something, like, hey, I'm on this floor and go to the left door. But if I don't tell you which way you should be facing, left is a direction from a static position, right? Mm-hmm. So if you're in a dynamic position facing one way or the other or whatever the case is, left doesn't mean the same thing to you. And I say that because we don't value the truth anymore. Like we value the truth through our lens. So that to me is left. If you tell me that that's right, I'm like, no, it's left. I'm looking at it right now.
It's whatever you want. Like,
but for you, it is right.
But it's what you want. Like it's what you want. Like it's like social media. It's like the epitome. Like how many times do people post a photo that's not filtered?
Yeah,
they can make
right.
themselves look however they want. They can make themselves be whatever they want. They get to build. We have created in America people to create their own reality.
Yeah, it's
It's
absolutely
not
ridiculous.
reality.
No, it's certainly not. And to me, it's the lack of conflict. It became politically incorrect to tell
There
somebody
is no
they're wrong.
accountability without conflict.
No, of course not. Like when Mario Lopez said, maybe 3 years old is a little young to let a child decide what their gender is going to be for the rest of their life.
Yeah.
He got torched for that. That is a completely reasonable and accurate thing to say. And he got lit the fuck up for saying it. That is
Crazy.
Beyond wild to me. I don't understand that at all. But that is one of the best examples of the symptom of our time. And it's, unless we're allowed to have real, honest conversations that address these things and do so without concern for offending other people, then we're just going to continue going down this trap. And if you think, again, I would, if any of you out there are anti-Trump, I mean, I'm not a huge fan, but if you're anti-Trump or you're liberal in general, not that they're mutually exclusive, and you think that we've somehow won by getting him out of there, you're out of your fucking mind.
Yeah.
You're out of your mind to think that all these old powers defeating somebody that was trying to break up this organization, the federal government that we all hate. The left hates it for their reasons, the right hates it for their reasons, but we all dislike it.
Yeah.
You think that fucking them being emboldened by the establishment beating off
But quote me.
the attack from the new people, that's not good.
Quote me.
They're just stronger now.
Here's what's going to happen the next 4 years. Is the fuck ups that Joe Biden does is going to be blamed on Donald Trump.
Oh yeah, for sure, yeah.
For sure.
Yep.
And same thing Republicans do. Same shit.
Oh
They
yeah,
all blame everybody
it
else.
doesn't matter. I mean, everybody's full of shit. And you asked this earlier, and people ask all the time, what's the solution to any of this? It really begins with these people.
Yeah.
You have to admit when you're
Individual.
wrong. You have to admit when you're wrong, and like you say, don't dance on people's graves. Like, don't celebrate intellectual victories
Yeah.
because you're wrong about a litany of other things as well. It doesn't make any sense. Like, we should celebrate coming to the truth, but we should not celebrate winning an intellectual victory over another person. That doesn't make any sense. You have to stop taking things out of context too.
Yeah.
Stop pretending you know things that you don't know. Stop seeing some stupid shit on the internet and posting it like it's true. Go find out if it's true or not. Be firm in your beliefs, but challenge them every day. And it starts, like everything else in America, it starts with the individual. At some point, we're going to have to act as a larger group. But right now, that's like taking a bunch of dudes out of MEPS and sending them out onto the line. They'll get murdered immediately because they don't know what the fuck they're doing. We have to train ourselves how to think before we can ever engage in any kind of real intellectual warfare with this infrastructure of government that we all have grown to hate. We have to prepare ourselves mentally to deal with that before we can ever get there. If you're not capable of really listening to yourself and challenging your beliefs and being open to new information and ideas, then we will fail, right?
Yeah, I mean, you got to be willing to grow and learn. You got to be willing to get better every day with your beliefs, with every aspect of life.
Yep.
And that's ultimately what it comes down to, is be open-minded. You don't know everything, and you might have known how it was last time, but you might not know how it is this time. So be willing to listen, right? Like, you got 2 ears and 1 mouth for a reason. So listen as much as you talk. And the thing is like, there's 2 pieces that are effective to any type of communication, and I break it down to the military side of it is just because you can translate or transmit, you have to be able to receive.
Right.
And both of them are as equally as important to be able to have effective communication in any aspect of life.
Yep. Well,
this is
another episode.
another episode.
We'll do this again. We'll go live next week too.
Let's do it. Thank you guys so much for tuning in.
Yep. Giorgio.